Self-assessments are a versatile strategy that can be used in the classroom to help students set goals and track their own progress. They're good for all grades, most proficiency levels, and all content areas because they're so modifiable. You can control what questions you ask and the format that they're asked in so that it's very specific to the student's needs. They should be private, guided, and specific. So I'm going to go over 4 different formats that self-assessments can be done in and talk about how they can be used in the class through giving some examples. So the 4 formats that self-assessments are usually done in are holistic scales, Likert scales, checklists, or sentence completion. The 2 different scales are kind of dependent on what questions you want to ask, and it's kind of up to the teacher on which one they prefer to use for their students. So I'm just going to give some examples. A holistic scale is done on more of a 1 through 5 numbered scale basis for the respondent. So an example of a question that might be used for a holistic scale is, I use tracking strategies while reading. So let me think about this. I've just read a passage and I did use tracking strategies while reading. I used maybe 6 or 7. I used a lot of tracking strategies that I've been working on with my ELL instructor in my reading group. So I'm going to give myself a 5. I'm going to say yes, I use my tracking strategies very well. A Likert scale is one that the respondent is answering agree to disagree or strongly agree to strongly disagree based on a statement. Or it can also be a question, but typically it's a statement. For example, this reading was challenging for me. Well, I did use a lot of tracking strategies, but I needed to use those tracking strategies. This passage was very difficult for me. So I'm going to say I agree. I could have answered strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. I answered agree. Another format that a self-assessment can be done in is a checklist. I really like checklists because they can be specific for the student's needs. So they can look at their checklist before they read, and then they can look at the checklist after they read to make sure that they've covered all of those steps. You can have a before, during, and after reading. So I'm gonna do a before reading checklist. Before reading, I took a book walk. Yes, I did. I looked at the pictures and I looked at the cover. Yeah, I did take a book walk. So I can say, check, I did that. Before reading, I set a purpose. Ooh, I forgot to set a purpose. So I don't get to check that one. I thought about my background knowledge. Yeah, before reading, I did think about my background knowledge. So check, I can select that one. Another format that can be used is sentence completion. This one is great because you can do kind of a 2-part one if you want. So, for example, the theme of this reading was blank to me as I was reading. Well, I was really struggling with those vocabulary words and I was focusing really hard on using my reading strategies, but the theme kind of got lost to me. So I'm going to answer honestly, not important. And since this is a private assessment, I don't have to feel bad about saying that. But then the follow-up question, next time I read, I should work on following the theme of the story. Yeah, because now I know I acknowledge something that I messed up on, and I set a plan of action for the future. So self-assessments, again, should be private so that the student can work on the introspection. They should be guided, and they should be specific.